Welcome to another episode of Brothers Arguing Sports. I'm Zob. Across the Zoom is TD. And today, should the Yankees bring back Aaron Boone next season? Simple question. TD, what do you think?
Something has to change with this Yankee team. Running it back already was a stretch last year. It was time to make a change last year after getting swept by the Astros. A year later now, it's just not an option to quote unquote run it back. Now they're in a tight bind because you got Cole and Judge's prime. So you got to keep this team together. You can't blow it up around them. So adding those two things together, you can't run this back, but you also can't blow it all up because you got to keep Cole and Judge. Something needs to change, and no one in Yankee universe, or the majority, would be sad if Boone left. So I think, all things considered, needing a change, Boone out would be a welcome and the right decision.
It wouldn't be the right decision. The failures of this team is 100% on Cashman. This team has the second worst batting average in the league. They don't have a starting rotation. They're slow. They have guys playing out of position. They've had injuries. Nothing has gone right. And they're 59 and 56. Okay, they're over 500 despite all these issues. And all these issues are a product of Cashman's inability to project what was going to happen this year. So I agree with you. If you could get a Terry Francona, a Dusty Baker, a Bruce Bochy, definitely get rid of.
There you go. There you go.
But those guys aren't coming to the Yankees. If you could get one of the top experienced managers, I agree. Listen.
Okay, so you agree. If you bring in an old experienced manager that people will respect, it would be the right move to replace Boone.
No, if you bring in one of the top managers in the game, and the top managers have clout, have experience, they know how to discipline players, I agree, but the chances of that happening are very small. Boone is a smart baseball man, and objectively, he has done a good job this year.
Zob, objectively doesn't. Do you think the players in the clubhouse, Zob, you remember last year with Sevy, he questioned in the media Boone? He's like, "Oh, I don't know why Boone would do that." I think these
How's Sevy doing this year? How's Sevy doing this year?
Obviously not well.
Does he has no right to speak.
But my point is, that's a kind of respected guy in the clubhouse speaking out against the manager. To me, that suggests that locker room just doesn't respect Boone's voice.
That's the issues this season, and it's unjust to fire Boone. Would you agree? This team's shortcomings has very little to do with the manager, if anything.
The main issues are roster construction. That is the main issue.
Exactly.
And I don't think anyone, I don't think any other manager, you're stuck with this team. But just to change this stink that this team has accumulated, something has to happen. So if you don't change Boone, you know what you're doing? You're just running it back again.
No,
and we're on a downhill spiral. We got swept last year, and now we don't even make the playoffs. This is 6 years of Boone. Something you cannot. And I agree.
The change comes with Cashman and the direction of the team. All right, that's where the change needs to come. If you get rid of Cashman, if you get rid of Boone, you bring back Cashman, and if you look at the contracts, it's going to be very hard for the Yankees to change their actual players. It does not matter who is managing this team. They are not winning. I mean, what are you supposed to do with Severino in your rotation? Rondon is giving you nothing. Nestor Cortez is giving you nothing. They don't have a starting rotation. We could go through the lineup. We've done it a million times.
Okay, so Zob, you're suggesting that Cashman goes. You think that's going to happen?
I'm saying that's the fair, just everyone in Yankee world realizes Cashman
is the problem.
Does not deserve to come back again. He is under contract through 2026. Exactly. I understand that's unlikely, but it's not going to change anything. It's unjust. and you risk bringing in an average or bad manager. You would agree Boone is a base. He has a
I don't, Zav. You say an average or bad, that's exactly where I would put Boone. I would put Boone as an average to bad manager.
No,
Zav,
he doesn't have the clout. How's the Yankee bullpen doing this year?
Satisfactory.
It was the best in baseball, at least at the All-Star break it was. He's manages the bullpen. There's very few.
Now, if you're giving Boone credit when, how do you think he's managing the postseason? Even Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman last year, when they re-upped Boone, they're like, listen, we don't necessarily agree with all his postseason bullpen decisions. Everyone has their issues with Boone as a manager. I think it's pretty common practice. He makes just head-scratching moves with the pitching staff in the postseason. I mean, just off the top of my head, Zav, season on the line, Garrett Cole on the mound. He pulls him for a nobody who blows it.
What happened
a few years before, that whole debacle with J.A. Happ and Davy Garcia. I mean, these are major milestone moments that, to me, define Boone as a manager.
What happened to Garrett?
But again, I don't think this team is. I agree with you on the fact that this isn't his mess. But
what happened with Garrett Cole when he was with the Astros in game 6 or 7 of the World Series? What happened?
He didn't come in the bullpen when we
exactly.
Needed him.
That was on the manager.
I agree.
Dave Roberts of the Dodgers, has he had issue? Every man you could go through. I agree. Boone hasn't been this great manager. He hasn't won yet.
No, but
this year he's done as good as you could do.
This year,
it's not his fault.
Agree. Stop. This year in isolation is not Boone's fault. This year was going to happen, but you can't just base the whole future on just this year. This year is part of a 6-year run now that just hasn't borne the fruit it should have borne, and you need to stop. Something you think you can just run it back?
No, but that's on Cashman. He ran it back last year. They didn't hit the whole second half. That's on Cashman. Boone is done, and people criticize Boone for defending his players every game. They want him to say more. That's a skill to be able, because you deal with the players in the club. I think he's good with the media.
I agree.
He has these strengths. And he's done a good job this year. I don't care what anyone on Twitter, Yankee Twitter world says. To have this team over 500 is a good job.
I mean,
all right, well,
okay, but you're saying that. But the general feeling, there is no sense of success, as you're saying, this year.
It's been a terrible year, but it's because as we've gone through, it's the team, it's the construction of the roster, which the manager is just left with. So, all right, there you have it. Let us know what you think in comments. Have a great night, everybody.